Hey everybody, it's Ben Vaughn from Brewster Consulting Group. In today's video, we're going to show you guys how to leverage Power Automate to create automated data reports sent from your email to yourself or anywhere else. It's going to leverage Power Automate, Power BI, SharePoint, as we'll offload a file just so you have a storage point for it, and then actually Outlook, of course, to be able to send the email. So I'll show you how to do that right now. All right, so we're in Power Automate here, and what you see on your screen here is actually the flow that we'll be using. It's a pretty simple flow, only about 6 steps, but we want to make sure we get it right because, as you all know, Power Automate can be a little finicky at times. So we'll start by just having a recurrence. Now you can set this to a different trigger if you'd rather something else, but for our purposes, we're going to show a case where we want to send this data once a day. So if I click into this recurrence, you're going to see this, it's set to 1 day. That's the frequency of it. And I have it set to, I believe, 1 a.m. Eastern time or 6 a.m. UTC, I believe, one or the other. But at a certain cadence and a certain time. So that's when this flow is going to trigger. Now, what I'll leverage is Power BI. So in Power BI, I have a dashboard. It's called the Health Equity Dashboard that uses basically a fake data set that I generated myself. So what I like to do is actually set the exact data set that I'm looking to send on in Power BI, and that simplifies Power Automate. So in this case, I've already had it set up, and then I just create, find that data set in particular. So that's the Health Equity Dashboard within the sales workspace that we've created. And then the query text is just going to be evaluate the data set we're looking for there. So very simple, so you don't have to have a whole bunch of queries, you don't have to have a whole lot of concern if there's differences between the code, just evaluate this table. So once we have that, that will then want to create a CSV table. So we just take the prior step as the input, which is actually going to be like the first rows, and create the CSV table. From there, we want to actually create a file from that to be able to store that into SharePoint. So you can see where the site address, I have it. This will be wherever you want it, but I'm setting it into this client's archive general folder. So whatever path you're looking for here and here, you can leverage that. On the file name, what you can use is a custom code to be able to do this. I've set this up as Health Equity Export and then set to an individual day and then a CSV file. So in this case, it's going to pull the specific day in Eastern Standard Time, or excuse me, the date and time in Eastern Standard Time in this specific format, starting with Health Equity Export, then that date, and then CSV. And that'll save that as a file within that SharePoint location. Or I'm sorry, right now we're just creating it. And that is the file name. And then the content we're going to make sure is the output from the prior CSV table step. Once we have that, now we've created a file in SharePoint. Now we want to actually send that file. So we're going to get the file content in that same location with the identifier from the prior step. So from the create file, that's where we're going to grab the same file in SharePoint. And then now we have that in our Power Automate flow. And then finally, we just want to send the email. So I've set it sent to myself with a subject similar to how we did it in the prior step, just Health Equity Data Pull and then a local time. So that's going to be unique each time. That's why I set it up this way. That's going to be the subject line. Then then you need to create a body. I just made a very generic one. Please find the most recent data pull attached. Super simple. And then finally, the most important step is actually including the attachment. So what you'll see here is this is what it looks like when you finish it. But what you actually do, and I'll show you really quick, is if you go to attachments, let me show all. What you need is to grab the name is going to be the body and name of the file. So that's, just, you can really set it to whatever you want, but I just like to put it as the file name from a prior step. And then the content bytes is going to be the file content. That's the critical piece. That's the actual data set that's going to come through in the attachment. So once you have this set up, it should run by itself. So the recurrence will trigger it. It'll pull whatever the most recent version of the data set is. Usually that data set is going to be connected to a SQL server, to a database, to an API query, so that it's changing every day. It's going to create a CSV table, put that CSV table into SharePoint. You can actually skip these steps if you want. I just like to have that backup in case I ever need it. It also makes sure that it's kind of a checkpoint for this process. You get the file content, and then you send an email with that file content to the people you so desire on whatever cadence you have the recurrence. So hopefully that gives you a quick little rundown of how to set this up. It's a very common ask we get from a lot of clients, so I wanted to make sure that it was super easy for people to access that on their own and be able to do it on their own. So if you have any questions, please let us know. You can reach us at brewsterconsulting.io, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks for the time.